students. In today's session, we are going to study chemiluminescence phenomena and how it is utilized as assay technique in clinical laboratory or in medical field. In my earlier video, we learned about radioimmunoassay technique. Radioimmunoassay technique, which is an extraordinary valuable tool that has yielded many excellent sensitive and specific diagnostic tests for the clinical laboratory. But the radioactive isotope used in radioimmunoassay creates limitations due to short reagent shelf life, licensing issues, and disposal problems. As you know, today chemiluminescent reactions have replaces most of the radioimmunoassays in the clinical laboratory. This relatively simple, cost-effective technology has sensitivity at least as good as that of the radioimmunoassay to a long shelf life and a wide range of applications. It is being pursued as the technology of choice by most major immunodiagnostic tech companies. Chemiluminescent reagents are practical alternative to radionuclides when incorporated into immunoassay reaction. They may have greater sensitivity than radioimmunoassay. This is the historical background of chemiluminescence. Chemiluminescence has traditionally been used to study the nature of the oxidative bactericidal mechanisms of neutrophils and monocytes and intrinsic defects of abnormally functioning neutrophils or monocytes and cell activation. Chemiluminescence term was coined by Elhard Weidmann, and these are some of the important milestones are given over here. Now let us see first of all what is luminescence. It is derived from a Latin word lumen meaning light and essentia meaning the process of. Hence, it is the process of giving off light. Thus, luminescence is any emission of light from a substance that does not arise from heating. This definition makes luminescence distinct from incandescence, which is light emitted by a substance as a result of heating. This diagram clearly depicts that luminescence is the phenomenon whereby matter emits light of a specific wavelength without emitting heat and returns to a ground state from an excited state after having absorbed external energy from an electromagnetic wave, heat, friction, electric field, or chemical reaction. This is known as luminescence. There are many types of luminescence, which can be classified by the energy source, which is initiates the luminescence process. So when the source of the energy absorbed is a chemical reaction, this is called chemiluminescence. And when light is the energy absorbed, the phenomenon is called photoluminescence, which includes fluorescence and phosphorescence also. Whereas light emission by fireflies and deep sea organism is called bioluminescence. Then there are electroluminescence, thermoluminescence, cathodoluminescence, etc. Now we will focus on chemiluminescence. The basic principle of chemiluminescence is this is a chemical reaction where two chemicals react to form an excited intermediate which breaks down releasing some of its energy as photons of light to reach its ground state. Let us see, this is the example of hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom is in its ground state. A single electron is present in shell number 1. Each shell has its own energy level. When the hydrogen atom absorbs a quantum of energy, it is promoted to a higher energy level, that is in shell number 2, and it is now in an excited high energy state. The electron falls back down to its original position in the ground state. In the process, a packet of energy, that is photon, is released in the form of electromagnetic radiation. The wavelength depends on the amount of energy. If the wavelength is within the range of visible light, the electron transition will be perceived as light of a particular color. Thus, chemiluminescent reaction do not usually release much heat because energy is released as light instead. Now, these are the chemiluminescent labels or reagents used in chemiluminescence assay. Chemiluminescence method can be direct, where the excited material itself emits light and it uses luminophore markers such as luminol, acridinium ester, and tris-ruthenium. These labels are attached directly to antigen, antibody, or DNA probes depending on the assay format. Another method is indirect method, where energy from the chemical reaction excites another material. which uses enzyme markers such as alkaline phosphatase with adamantyl 1,2-dioxetane aryl phosphate, which is also known as AMPPD substrate, and horseradish peroxidase with luminol or its derivatives as substrate. Now, let us see what is the mechanism of this chemiluminescence reagent or labels in chemiluminescence assay. Luminol is a typical example of chemiluminescence reagent, which has been used for many years to identify blood. Luminol is also known as 3-aminophthalate hydrazide. It is an organic compound which, when oxidized, emits light. That is, it shows chemiluminescence phenomena. When in the presence of metallic catalyst, strong alkaline solution oxidizing agent such as hydrogen peroxide, resulting in an excited state intermediary that returns to the ground state and emits blue light around 425 nanometer. This is believed to occur by the following mechanism. This release of a photon of light from a molecule of luminol is a multi-stage process. In alkaline solution, luminol exists in equilibrium with its anion, which has two negative charges. This anion exists in two forms, which is also known as tautomers. If these two negative charges are present on nitrogen are known as keto form, and if it is present on oxygen, then it is known as enol form. Molecular oxygen, when combines with the enol form of the luminol anion, oxidizes it to a cyclic peroxide. This cyclic peroxide decomposes to give 3-aminophthalate in an excited state along with a molecule of nitrogen. And when the excited 3-aminophthalate drops down to the ground state, a photon of blue light is released. As I said earlier in this slide, in the first point, that luminol, which has been used for many years to identify blood, as the forensic scientist uses this reaction of luminol to detect blood, a mixture of luminol in a dilute solution of hydrogen peroxide is sprayed onto the area where the forensic scientists suspect that there is blood. The iron present in the heme unit of hemoglobin in the blood acts as a catalyst in this reaction. The room must be dark, and if blood is present, a blue glow lasting for about 30 seconds will be observed. The forensic investigators record this glow by using photographic film, which can be used as evidence in court for the presence of blood at the crime scene. Another example of chemiluminescence label is acridinium ester. An exposure of an acridinium ester label to an alkaline hydrogen peroxide solution also triggers a flash of light. Dioxetane and tris-ruthenium is also another examples of chemiluminescent label. In dioxetane, it has aryl phosphate group which decomposes when this phosphate group hydrolyzes by alkaline phosphate, and emission of light directly comes from the decomposing intermediate. Ruthenium is also one of the best example of chemiluminescent label, which is utilized for electrochemiluminescence with ultra high sensitivity and specificity. Now, when chemiluminescence technique combines with immunochemical reaction, it is known as chemiluminescence immunoassay. Similar with other labeled immunoassays like radioimmunoassay, fluorescence immunoassay, enzyme-linked immunoassay, chemiluminescence immunoassay utilize chemical probe which could generate light emission through chemical reaction to label the antibody. In this assay, chemiluminescent labels can be attached to an antigen or an antibody in two ways. One is competitive immunoassay and second is sandwich immunoassay. Now, as you can see here in this diagram, in competitive immunoassay, a fixed amount of labeled antigen competes with unlabeled antigen from a patient sample for a limited number of antibody binding sites, which clearly shows the amount of light emitted is inversely proportional to the amount of antigen measured. Whereas in sandwich immunoassay, the sample antigen binds to an antibody fixed on to a solid phase, a second antibody, labeled with a chemiluminescent label binds to the antigen antibody complex on the solid phase, which also shows that the emitted light is directly proportional to the antigen concentration. So these are the two ways in which chemiluminescence immunoassays are used in the laboratories. Now, this is one of the application of chemiluminescence immunoassay in the diagnostic testing of autoantibodies. So this is one of the easiest ways to use chemiluminescence immunoassay to detect proteins, or particularly analyte, is to attach the substrate to magnetic beads. And these magnetic beads are coated with antibodies specific for the analyte to be recognized and analyzed. These beads are mixed and incubated with blood or serum or urine sample. Then secondary antibody is added which recognizes the same analyte as the primary antibody coated on the magnetic beads. Thus, analyte is therefore sandwiched between two antibodies. The secondary antibody is conjugated with a stable enzyme that catalyzes the final reaction with the substrate, resulting in chemiluminescence. The amount of chemiluminescence is proportional to the concentration of analyte captured by the coated magnetic beads. These are the applications. Chemiluminescent assay has diverse applications in clinical research. In routine clinical testing, chemiluminescence labels like actinium ester, luminol, sulfonamide detection reactions for peroxidase and alkaline phosphatase enzyme labels. They are widely used in immunoassay and nucleic acid probe assay. Clinical research in clinical research, the sensitivity, dynamic range, and diversity of chemiluminescence assays has led to a vast range of application, notably in protein and nucleic acid blotting, microarray-based assays, monitoring reactive oxygen species, and as detection reaction for substances separated by um, high performance liquid chromatography, then capillary electrophoresis, etc. Hope the presentation was informative, and if you like it, please share and subscribe. Thank you.